You wanna open it? I'll take that as a yes. Thank you so much for joining. We're about to start this session. Sir, you don't have to leave. You can just sit. You don't have to stand up. It's like, I hear someone talking. Let me go. You can stay as well if you want to. We're about to talk about Microsoft Express Rooms. Very interesting developments happening right now. For those that are watching us online, thank you so much for joining. We'll give it a couple of minutes and then we will start the session. I know I saw some people at the coffee corner that wanted to be part of this session. You're waiting for your coffee? We'll wait for you. Again, in a few minutes, we'll start our session on Express Rooms.
I haven't seen the official mail go out announcing while, but I'm telling everybody because I'm trying to get Drew introduced, possible, etc. So.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Yep. Again, in just a few minutes, we'll start the session here. We'll talk about easy install of Microsoft Teams Rooms with this new concept that we've been working on with some of our very valued partners. Excited to share more.
Pass. Come on, pass.
Joe, are you joining us for this session? Are you You're not? That's so disappointing. Okay. Okay, so let's get this going. Thank you so much for joining us here at the booth. Feel free to have a seat if you want to. I think there's coffee coins coming as well in just a second, so we'll take good care of you. If not, please go around the corner later to grab you a cup of coffee. For those that are joining us online, thank you so much for joining us. For those that are watching this after ISE, you missed out on a great conference. What we're going to be speaking about today is what we call Express Install for Microsoft Teams Rooms.
About this and this.
And I think they're figuring something out. Let me walk to this side real quick while they figure that stuff out. Oh, there we go. So my name is Michel Bouwman. I lead the EMEA channel team for Microsoft Teams Rooms. And with me, I have the amazing Matt Taylor. Matt, you want to do a quick introduction?
I'd be happy to. So Matt Taylor, I lead product marketing for rooms and devices at Microsoft.
We had yesterday, if you were here, we had an Ask Me Anything, or maybe it was the day before yesterday. I lost count.
All the days blend together.
Yeah, exactly. We had Ilya Buxtin, our VP for Teams calling and devices and premium experiences here at the booth. And he mentioned that out there are currently around 1 million Microsoft Teams rooms that are deployed. He also mentioned that there are about 15 million, 15, bookable rooms out there that currently do not have video in it. There are also about 90 million, or between 60 and 90 million, depending on who you ask, non-bookable rooms out there. We also know that 2 out of 3 meetings have at least one virtual participant. So the question that I've been asking to many customers is, how are you doing hybrid meetings if there are no video devices in there? And some of the feedback that we've been getting, Matt, is it's cost of deployment that is difficult. Lead time. Anything else we're hearing from customers?
Lead time, cost of deployment, simplicity, and it's really about those smaller spaces. Some of those numbers that Michelle was talking about on 90 million rooms out there. I mean, the vast majority of those are the 4, 5, 6 person rooms that we've just decided it's easy to overlook and only focus on the executive or those larger rooms. But the experience just doesn't kind of meet the bar that we've all come to know through the pandemic and coming out of the pandemic. And so that's where we're really starting to lean into with this notion of the express install, is to remove as many barriers as possible and make it so that you can deploy more Teams rooms in a simple, fast, easy way and go deliver that whole native Teams rooms experience that you and your users have come to expect.
This is not something that is with customers only, right? Like Microsoft, it is Thursday. Microsoft, what am I thinking? Mustard. Microsoft is actually customer zero, and we're struggling with this as well. If you look at the amount of rooms that we have in Microsoft that either have no video or are BYOD, it's quite a lot. And we also don't have unlimited funds to deploy all these rooms with Teams rooms, even though we want to, right? It's always part of the journey to go to native Teams rooms. What makes this, Matt, easier and more special and cost effective for customers?
Absolutely. Just before getting into exactly what makes this easier, I think this notion around us as Microsoft as customer zero. So if you've been on the journey with us for a while, I think it was 2-3 years ago, we announced signature Teams rooms. And that was really this notion of a product of the time. It was coming directly out of the pandemic. Every single meeting was a hybrid meeting, and there was the idea or the stereotype around they can't be as inclusive or collaborative. A meeting couldn't be. And the signature room is where we mirrored intelligent hardware with furniture to really set up and show that, no, a hybrid meeting can be as inclusive, as collaborative as any in-person meeting from before the pandemic. And now we're 3 years on that journey. Our same MS Digital team was looking at, we got about 50% penetration of Teams rooms ourselves, so many additional spaces that were, as Michelle was talking about, in a BYOD or had no tech in them at all. And so we were really looking at the problem ourselves on how can we go and deploy and upgrade those spaces to a full-blown Teams room so that we can have management, have visibility of those rooms, and then deliver that end user experience, especially in the face of Copilot and some of the agents that we started talking about at Ignite. And that's where Express Rooms came from. And so what makes it an Express Room is really, it's the same hardware that you know and love for Teams rooms from any of our partners, Teams rooms on Windows, Teams rooms on Android, any of that coming together, but then partnering with furniture companies. So I believe this one's a Heckler stand that allows the display to be mounted to the stand, holds the compute in the back. The Jabra P50 in this example is able to be mounted to the stand too. And in as little as an hour, one of your IT techs can come in, set it down on the table, plug it in, and upgrade that space within minutes relative to having to pull GC permits, open up walls, run wires, etc. And so just really trying to make it as easy as we possibly can, working with our partners to go make those native Teams room spaces.
And I think Heckler even has these on their booth right now. I know Logi might have one on their booth as well. They presented it at a lunch yesterday. So I encourage you all to go and check that out. You wanted to take a picture because I will get out the way.
You don't want the picture of Michelle?
No, I think he wants to. I hope he wants to slide. Otherwise, I'll pose and smile. That's all good. So you said something very important. It's bringing down the deployment time back to about an hour.
Yep.
Can we quantify that even more? Do we have something on cost of deploying? Because one, you need the permits to do all the modifications in the room, drilling holes, but it also costs you a lot of time to hang up these displays, right, and to run the cable. Do we have anything from our own experience to kind of quantify the real advantages of doing it this way?
Yeah, we saw about a 60 to 70% time and cost reduction when we were deploying these on our own campus. And so that'll obviously vary when you're looking at the permits, the amount of bureaucracy that you need to go through to pull that. So vary region by region, but that's what we were seeing when we started to roll these out on our own campus. And we're really looking at the smallest spaces. So the focus rooms, the small rooms that are able to have a single display and meet the needs of the 3-4 users that are right there, with the audio, video all encompassed in an all-in-one or a collaboration bar form factor.
And so for me, this also means that the bring your own device rooms that you have in your organization, where you're like, well, it feels like the most cost effective, but it's not really the most user friendly. I mean, amongst nerds here, and I see a couple of you are. I am myself as well, by the way. So don't take that as something offensive. That we know how to connect the cable to a laptop, but many users, I think Ilya always said that 2 laptops break every year because someone's trying to push an HDMI cable into a USB port in companies. That's hard for me to imagine, but apparently that's happening. But now you have a cost-effective way to have a native Teams Rooms experience in a place where it used to be BYOD to really save a lot of money in terms of productivity with your employees.
I think as we as Microsoft continue to deliver Copilot, facilitator, agent experiences that we recently talked about at Ignite a few months ago, the ability to have that room, have a brain, be smart, have that compute just becomes more and more critical. So with a full-blown Teams Room system in this space, you're able to do speaker recognition, which is critical to enabling Copilot into all of your meeting spaces. So maintaining your identity while you're in a meeting room so that all the users of the meeting room don't just assume the identity of the meeting room for the transcript, allows Copilot to do all of that magic. And then with facilitator agent to be able to reason on top of that, it's absolutely critical. And so we continue to believe that a native Teams Rooms experience with the compute in there is the best end user experience, but then also on the IT side gives that manageability ability as well, which is just so critical.
So not only are you saying it's more cost effective, it's easier to install, you get the full experience, but you're also able to bring AI into every meeting room now.
Absolutely.
Plus it's going to be easier for you to manage from an IT perspective.
Yep.
I have one more last question, and this is a short and simple session. It's actually an express session. I just made that up. It's the worst joke I could make on a Thursday. Does this require any do we certify these solutions, or can any manufacturer or any type of solution work in this scenario?
It's a good question. So we are not looking to do any type of certifications on an express room or an express install solution. Similar to how we followed with the signature rooms, we did not do any type of certification there either. The notion around the hardware is from all of our partners, and that is the certified hardware. And the software is the Teams Rooms application that you know and love, whether it be the Windows flavor or the Android flavor. So there's really no additional components to be certified there. It's the notion of that intersection between the hardware, the software, the additional furniture components all coming together to really remove some of those barriers, but not a separate pre-packaged certified solution.
Good stuff. Do we have any questions from the audience before we wrap this one up? We don't? That's good stuff. Thank you so much for joining. Matt, I want to thank you as well for all the amazing work that you've been doing the last couple of years for Teams Rooms. It's much appreciated. Thank you for flying all the way from the US back to Europe. I know you have a little bit of history here, but thank you so much for everything that you've been doing.
Happy to be here. Appreciate it, Michelle.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.